We are live. Here we are again. Hello to everybody. It's so cool to be back. I haven't done one of these for about a month or so now, so it's great to get back into the saddle. Before we get going, I'm going to share this into at least one of the Facebook groups, if I may, and then I'll introduce you to my wonderful guest. Let's have a look at my profile. Hopefully we've showed up on there. Yes, we have. Great. Share to a group. Empower your energy healing. Done. Actually, I'll see if I can share to your timeline as well. No, I can't, to be honest.
Well, I see it in your group, so I'll see if I can share it.
Okay, please do. That'll be most useful. Thanks, Sophia.
This is so cool. Look.
It is so cool. Yeah. Live on Facebook.
Well, I see it in your group, so I'll see if I can share it.
Oh, you won't be able to share it from the group because it's a private group, so you'll need to go to my timeline, my Facebook timeline. Profile or
I see it now. Share. Cool.
We've got
share now.
Rita's saying hi, Danny and Sophia. Hi, Rita in the house. Sue Ratley saying hi, Danny and Sophia. Hi. You kind of jumped the gun. So we've got some viewers and 3 viewers and counting. So let's get the show on the road. So as I say, hi everyone. It's so wonderful to be back. Today I'm joined by a rather special lady who has been a mentor to me. She has defied doctors who cast doubt on whether she'd be able to walk following a so-called birth defect, going on to run 10K races as a weekly occurrence. My goodness. My guest also picked up a violin on Valentine's Day of last year. 10 months later, played in her first concert reciting a Beethoven piece, no less. My God. She's a spiritual teacher, a transformational coach, and she's here with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you the wonderful Sophia Katerinis. Welcome, Sophie. Thank you so much for joining us all.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, my pleasure. We've got 7 viewers now. We've got Judy saying hi. Hello to you, Judy. Just bring the comments up from before as well. Rita, thanks so much for joining us. And Sue Ratley in the house as well. So, a current comment. Right, so if we just jump straight in, Sophia, your backstory is nuts in a very positive, amazing kind of way. So if we could just go right back to the beginning, if you can talk us through how, when you were born, there was sort of this doubt cast upon your ability to walk, is that right? So can you sort of start from
It was a bit of a concern because I was delayed in walking. And it was the pediatrician that noticed that one shoulder blade popped out a lot more than the other shoulder blade. And they noticed that something was different. And eventually I started walking and talking. And it was only afterwards when my family moved to the States. I was originally born in Greece. While my family was getting treatment at a chiropractor, the doctor said, "Oh, let's just check the whole family." And they saw that it's in my family. My father had it. My grandfather had it. It's genetic, but it also progressed. So although they knew that there was small imbalance when I was younger, they saw that it started to significantly change. So originally they were just looking at it and say, "Oh, one option is to watch it and one option is to go in a brace." And there's pluses and minuses based on reviews for both. So they left it to watch it and it got worse. And there was a lot of pain. Many doctors said that it's not painful. Also, many doctors don't really know where it comes from. They don't know why it's genetic. They don't know what triggers it. They don't know if it ever improves, and sometimes it's completely random. It happens often in older age, like way older age, as degenerative, if a person hasn't worked out their entire life, and just from the weight, and if someone's prone to osteoporosis, they can get degenerative scoliosis. There's also a lot during adolescence, especially for girls, because girls have a growth spurt earlier than boys. And because we're pretty much sedentary, the muscles aren't there to carry that extra weight. So if you're with a rucksack or carrying something, or your posture is leaning over, then it can turn into what's called a functional scoliosis. So based on the muscles pulling on one side, similar to how banana is, it will create an imbalance. And of course, how you sit, you're just going to get worse and worse. There's also structural in the sense of how the bones grow. This is based on observations and a bit of tests, but no one really knows anything about it. So it's odd, and they didn't know what was going to happen. They noticed it kept getting worse. I kept saying I'm in more and more pain. Many of the doctors said that it's painless. I didn't understand how it could possibly be painless, because it felt like torture. And then one doctor in particular said, oh, I've diagnosed people, and we look at the x-rays and they're in shock that they even have anything because they feel nothing. So it's a very unknown domain. So it was the whole thing of be careful, and what was I going to do? And nobody knows anything. Nobody knows if there's an impact during pregnancy. They don't know if it gets worse as you get older. They don't know if exercise improves it or degrades it, because in each case it's different, because it can happen at any point throughout the entire spine. So for me, as you've seen the x-rays that I've posted, there's no single bone that's in a straight line. It's everywhere from the apex all the way down to just above, like the bone that's above the pelvis. So it's every single one. It's somewhere else where it shouldn't be. But yeah, it was interesting. Once I started just becoming active, I was running in high school, swimming in high school, and kind of relaxing into it, making friends when I didn't have friends before. And there was a lot of, there was a sense of okayness, and that does a lot. The emotional bit does a lot. And somehow it improved. I used to go for yearly x-rays, which actually I found out degrades it, because the x-rays actually does stuff to the chemical structure of the bones and is bad for it. But I used to get yearly x-rays, and they said it improved. It had improved by 4 degrees for me, it was like, what? I went from 35 to 31 at that point in time when I was about 17. So yeah, when they had first diagnosed me, was somewhere around 17 degrees when I was about 7. So within 10 years, it increased by 20 degrees, which is quite a lot. And the doctor was like, oh yeah, it improved by 5 degrees. Or 4 degrees, 4 degrees. It's a medical miracle. And I'm just looking at them. It's like, I'm in as much, if not more pain than I was before. Like, what does it matter? Numbers don't matter. I don't know what it is now, because I haven't had x-rays in many, many years. But it felt like it just kept getting worse.
So do you still have pain to this day, or is that historical now?
It comes and goes. It really comes and goes, because there's so much within it. There's the muscles, nerves. Some nerves are pinched, some muscles are contracted. It changes with the weather. It changes with my mood. Mood is the biggest one. It changes throughout the month, and it changes throughout where I'm having pain.
Right.
But
I'm just thinking about the doctors. They're saying, no, there's no pain, and you're saying, no, I am in pain. They're saying, no, you're not. Talk about gaslighting someone, especially as a child. So kudos to you for getting through that. And then obviously you went on to run 10K races, which you do most weeks, so you have been certainly of late. Was it always a burning desire to run races? Is that kind of inherent within you? Because I know you're into nutrition and fitness and health and that sort of thing. How did that come about?
I just wanted to run. I just wanted to be able to run after a bus and not miss it.
Yeah.
That's mainly it. Run after a ball before it goes into the street. Being able to play, because I remember how it was in school. Like we used to have relays, and yeah, nobody wanted me on my team. Could probably walk faster than the way I ran. And yeah, it was like I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to enjoy football. I wanted to enjoy baseball. I wanted to be able to want, to be wanted on someone's team rather than just, sit this one out. So yeah, when I was in high school, I joined the running team and trained with them and improved a little, but it was still like, speed walking. And then just recently I thought, well, why not just try it again, see what happens. And yeah, I'm not fast. I ran and I tracked my performance and improved sometimes and didn't improve others. And sometimes I was in pain and sometimes I wasn't. But I just wanted to move around because there was a possibility that, I might end up in a wheelchair by the time I was 40 years old, or I might not be able to have children. Like nobody knows. Nobody knows. So I just went for it, and I figured, why not? And I'm going to have pain either way, and I'm going to have days when I completely forget about it. So why not go for it?
Just live.
Because that's the thing. It's very I guess temperamental is the easiest way to describe it. It's not constant. And that's where it's like, if it's not constant, then what's going on with the body? It's more natural. It's the same with nature. It's seasonal. I don't know what the exact rhythm is. It's not like where autumn is and where summer is and pretty much which months it is, but I don't know. Some days I wake up and I'm frozen in bed and can't leave. And other days when I'm running around and I completely forgot I have it. So it's, you just move on. You just live life. You can't have things holding you back.
Yeah, you certainly don't let the grass grow under your feet. So if you're just joining us, thank you for jumping on this call. I'm interviewing spiritual teacher Sophia Katerinis. I'm just going to jump on the comments a second. We've got William Emerson. He's saying, hi, Danny and Sophia. Thank you for joining us, William. We've got CB Dawn. She's saying hi. Hello to you, CB Dawn. And we've got my mate, Barry Gray. He's saying, all right. Yeah, I'm cool, Barry. Thanks for being on this live stream, mate. Right. So it's interesting you mentioned that things that affect the pain that you're in. One of the things that sort of pricked my ears up was he said the mood is very instrumental into the pain. So is it when you're angry or feeling sad? How does mood affect the pain? Can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Well, I think describing it as mood is very crude, because sometimes we think that whether I'm happy or sad or any of that, but it's deeper than that. It's the whole experience of life. So while it's not that, oh, I'm in a bad mood, therefore I'm going to be in pain. I just notice, oh, I'm in pain. I'm caught up in something. Like I'm not seeing something in life. I'm misreading it. It's that whole natural contraction. It's beyond words. It's the experience of life. And that's what I've noticed. And I also saw it in my speed, in my running, so I tracked every single race throughout the year. And I knew that there were some things that were going on in my life and in my thoughts. And I thought, oh yeah, whatever, I'll just keep going. And I saw the changes when I had personal bests and where I had like what happened that date. And I would look at the dates and say, oh yeah, I guess that did hit me harder than I thought it did. I guess it was a big deal when I brushed it off. It's just letting me know it's like a reality check, just letting me know what's going on. So yeah, I could be happy and still be in pain, and I could be sad and not be in pain. It's not what we're articulating. It's noticing that, oh, I'm contracted. Something's going on. Like even with a cold, it could be freezing and me be okay. And other times when it's freezing and I feel physically frozen. Same thing when it's warm. Sometimes it's warm. It's like, oh yeah, perfect day, and I feel nothing. And other times when, even though it's warm and nice, that it's, I'm not relaxing. And that's the same with everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. As you were talking, that's something I've forgotten about. I was meditating this morning at about 6 o'clock, and it kept coming into my mind that you should write a book, and that I should tell you, you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book. And you're a brilliant writer, certainly from where I'm sitting, and I see the stuff you're writing. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Not only inspirational, but so well written. So on this live stream, we've got 9 viewers now. I'm sort of saying you should write a book. So take from that what you may. But I would like to say I've known you for about 18 months or thereabouts, and your growth in that time has just been whoosh, your growth trajectory. And I'd love to talk a bit more about what you attribute, your growth to, this exponential growth. Some would say you're overachieving in many respects. So I wonder if you could elaborate on that at all, what you put down to this exponential growth.
This well, it's interesting that you're showing this video in this group, this Empower group, with a lot of people understanding or looking to understand the spiritual essence of life. And I guess they might be getting this a bit more than everyone else that might not be seeing the spiritual side of life. And what I mean by that is it's all spiritual, even though if it doesn't feel that way. And what I noticed was I wouldn't say it can be described as letting go, but it's not the active letting go. It's those eureka moments of, oh, that was a misinterpretation, or oops, I got it wrong. And we wake up and we go about life and we make assumptions of stuff, what everything means, what someone said, someone is, who I am, what I did, shouldn't I have done it, shouldn't I have done it, the past, the future, all this stuff. And it looks so critical. It looks like every choice, every decision, every turning point, everything is life or death. Because it's that moment that will change everything. And I think a lot of times it's in the books that we read and movies that we see, like in Back to the Future, that critical point where they have to go back
Yes.
to undo everything. And it looks so real. And just noticing that's just a figment of our imagination. Like, we're amazing storytellers. Whether we write books or not, we're amazing storytellers to the point where we believe our own make-believe world and think it's real. And once I started having these realizations of, it's not because of this and it's not because of that, and I'm not in the situation because of this, and there's not really any such thing as a situation, then things just started to relax. Because when I started running again, because it had been a period of pretty much 20 years, more than 20 years. Last time I ran was about 17, 18 before I did anything. And it was only last year, the night before my birthday, when I got a message from my friend saying, would you like to run with me? I'm running tomorrow. And I said, maybe. Where are you running? She said, well, it's around London, but the finish line is in the Olympic Stadium. And I just thought, wow, the most amazing birthday present to myself is to cross that same finish line as Usain Bolt and Jessica Ennis and Mo Farah. And every amazing athlete that was in the Olympics, whether they won gold or just came last in the trials. And it's just a location where dreams were made. And it was amazing, but it didn't come from the stadium. It didn't come from the finish line. It was just amazing to do that. Because I was scared. I was scared, like, oh, I'm that little girl that no one wants to be on their relay team. And I just went for it. And ever since then, I just tried a couple of other races, did a couple of park runs, and said, hey, I kind of like this. Let's see where it goes. And then did 3 races a week.
3 a week? 1 a week?
It was anywhere between 1 to 3 of them.
Wow.
So sometimes it would be about Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. Because there would be things on the weekends and then on Wednesday evenings as well. And if there wasn't a race, then there was a park run on Saturday. And then I joined a couple of different running clubs. And yeah, I just went with it. I met amazing people, and it's an amazing atmosphere because it's all walks of life, from athletes to semi, like, I don't know, I guess you could label them as disabled, but they're not. They're definitely not disabled. Many of them were faster than me. All different heights, all different weights, all different backgrounds, and it just went out. Said, whatever. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter how I feel. I'm gonna go, and whether I run or walk, I'm gonna start at the starting line and finish at the finish line and go for it and see what happens. And it was just amazing to be around that.
You said something key, if I can back you up a little bit. You said something along the lines of, you were scared before going out on this run, and you were like, here's this little girl, in your mind, that no one wanted to be on a team, and no one wanted to pick you. Yet, crucially, you did it regardless, because you didn't believe those thoughts, you didn't give them too much credence, you didn't jump on board with them and own them, and allow the stories to keep coming in. It
was more like, so what?
Yeah.
And actually, like, well, of course, why would I be picked first? You're on a team, you want to win, you're not gonna pick your friends, you're gonna pick the fastest. And that's all it is. Like, it wasn't anything personal against me. And that's what I realized. It had nothing to do with who I thought I was or who I thought I am, or any of that. Has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
It's just very practical. Just like when you go to the grocery store, you're gonna pick the ones that look well. They're not gonna get the smashed fruit and the smashed vegetables. You're gonna get the ones that are ripe enough to eat, but also not ripe enough, so they're not gonna get squashed by the time you get home. And it's like that. It's just very practical. It's not personal. And once we realize that, then things are so much easier. It doesn't mean what we think it means.
No, that's so true, and that's the difference from my experience between those who just go on to achieve, whether it's running races, playing an instrument, which we're going to get into in a moment, those who call themselves back year in, year out, and keep playing small and keep believing the stories. No, I can't do that. I'm not gifted. I was at the back of the queue when they give out gifts, but she's gifted and he's gifted, but I'm not. It's just stories. There's no truth to it. The same consciousness or spirit, whatever, that animates you, animates me and the next person, and so on. We're all made of the same stuff. So that's so key. That was a massive realization for me as well. Just want to go to the comments. If anyone on watching, we've got 7 viewers, we've had 9 and 10s and things. If anyone's got any questions for Sophia, please do type them in the comments box, or we'd love to hear your comments as well. So we welcome that. We invite you to do that. You also, Sophia, you picked up a violin on Valentine's Day, February the 14th of last year, 2018. And rumour has it, I've done good authority, that in the same year, December last month, you also played in your first ever concert, and it was a Beethoven piece, no less. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. when I was a little girl in my grandmother's house, I was just rummaging around and finding stuff, and I found my grandfather's old violin. I used to remember him playing in the we've got Greeks love to party and we love music and gatherings, and violin is an integral instrument, and many people are familiar with the bouzouki, but the violin is part of it as well. And I saw it, and to me it was magical, but it was also like a little toy. And you see something and you want to play it. It makes music. How do I make it make music? Because I had a little xylophone as well. Remember the ones that were multicolored, and you just hit them and make music. So I knew how to play that. You just hit it and play music. And with the violin, it's like, okay, I need a teacher. So I just told everyone, yeah, I want to play the violin. And of course, a little kid, violin is considered one of the hardest instruments. Do you actually believe them? So I don't know what was going through on anyone else's mind, but I kind of just left it. And I guess growing up, I expected others to buy me lessons, find me the teacher. Because, this was pre-internet. How do you find a teacher? Like, I had no idea. I just knew that a teacher comes and you learn how to play. And I guess that just stayed with me. And the whole thing of, how come no one's buying me lessons? And it just dawned upon me. I was like, come on, I can get my own lessons. And I just looked around and saw where are the lessons. And I saw there were a lot of universities that were offering lessons, but the lessons had already started and they were onto the more advanced course. I think it was midway between beginners and intermediate.
Right.
And the next session would be the next year. I was like, no, I want to learn now. So I kept searching, and it happened to be a, I think, 3 hour lesson. And it happened to be on Valentine's Day, and I guess another special day, birthday with running, Valentine's Day with music. I thought, okay, interesting coincidence, whether there's such thing as coincidence or not. And I just went for it. It's like, okay, nice present for myself. And then it was cool. It's like, oh wow, I can play. Like anyone can play. It's physics. That's all it is. It's just physics. You pick up an instrument and you move it at a certain angle and pressure, and that's it. And it makes music. You're just the conduit. So I thought, I want to continue this. So I just went on for more lessons. It was blocks of 10 weeks. And I did the first block and the second block. And now I've got the third block starting this Saturday. So that was fun. I just went with it. And sometimes I had time to practice and sometimes I didn't. And the first opportunity to play came in around summertime. I was like, no, I've got a race. I can't play. It was already booked. And I was scared. I was scared to play. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough. It sounds like cat scratching in my head. Like, I had no idea what it sounded like, but to me, it was cat scratching. And then the opportunity came up. Oh, your camera came off. Are we still on? Should I still? I'm going to continue talking because we've got viewers, and I guess, Danny, when you come back, you'll come back. So I just continued on. And then the opportunity came to play in December. And the piece was going to be Beethoven's Ode to Joy. And I thought, well, how wonderful. How wonderful that would be. Because it just felt joyous. And
oh no, she's gone. Shit. Right. So now we've lost Sophia. We lost me at first. So this is the joys of live TV, live Facebook Live. So hopefully Sophia will come back in a second. She might click on the link and come back. Oh, here she is. So Let's just give it a moment. Send some positive vibes. And here we are.
I don't know if it continued. I kept talking, but I don't know if it continued.
Yeah, you did. I heard you all the way, and then I came back on, and then you dropped out. So yeah, so yeah,
Wow.
I could hear you the whole time, but I wasn't on camera. So, but you were still on shot. So that's the main thing. So no, that was seamless, even though one of us was out.
The power of technology to still function,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't
Oh,
look
yeah.
like it's functioning. But it's the same thing with us. Like, we're capable of so much, or even the stuff that we don't think we are. And that's what I saw when I played. And it was fascinating. We had the sound check, and I was playing, and it sounded amazing, just room filled with music. And then it was time to play in front of the audience. And I was playing. I could visibly see I was playing, but I could hear nothing. It was like fainter than a whisper. And then while I'm playing, I remembered what my vocal music teacher told me when I was in high school. I was about 12, junior high school, 12, 13, and 14. I was taking singing lessons, and then also in high school later on. But I've been singing since I was like 3 or 4. And it was right before our first Christmas concert back then. So this is ages ago. What would have been 1993, maybe? Yeah. And he said, "You're going to have to sing louder, because when the audience comes in with their big, thick winter coats, that's going to absorb the sound."
Yeah.
And that memory came back. So it's plus 25 years afterwards. It's like, oh yeah, music. It's not what we think it is. And it was just fascinating in that moment that whatever looked like the world disappeared. And it was just one experience. It was literally just being one with music. And everyone in the audience, like the people and the faces and the chairs, just turned into almost like wallpaper. Like it was non-dimensional. And it was just, I guess, me and the music inside of a music box. And that was the wallpaper of the music box. And it was just fascinating, just being there, and another reminder of nothing is what we think it is. And the more certain we think we are, like, the more we're going to get caught up in stuff.
Yeah, that's a great place to stop you there, if I may, Sophia. Thank you for sharing that. I just want to go to the comments for a moment, and then we've got a question from Robert, who's in Australia, who he'd kill us if I don't ask it. So, but Rita is saying, my husband started playing violin in 2018, like yourself, and he's enamored with it, and he's very good as well. So kudos to your husband, Rita. Sue said, I relate to that little girl. I guess she's talking about when you're sharing your own story growing up as a small child. So thanks, Sue. This question is from Robert, who is down under. He's in the land of Oz. My mate, Rob Carpenter, he asks, he says it's not so much of a question, but a comparison, but there is a question at the end. He's saying, I play the guitar a bit and have been playing guitar a bit since I was 15. Let me see. He says, I'm 62 now, so that's only 47 years. I think he's been a bit sarcastic. I think I could have ability if I applied myself, and I've probably been thinking that for the best part of those 47 years, but I can still barely play guitar. I love the violin, and at one stage I bought a violin thinking I could learn to play this instrument. How hard can it be, he said. I've had a few lessons. I then sold my violin, didn't get to play any Beethoven or even a little Irish violin. It either seemed too hard, or I just didn't have the nous needed, or the discipline, the drive, whatever it may be. He's saying, yet you present this beautiful person, he's talking about yourself, Sophia, who doesn't appear to let anything faze her, no matter what. Please explain. I know you've kind of been explaining a little bit that, we aren't the music per se, it's coming through us, it's an expression. I don't know if you have any kind of pearls of wisdom or insight or encouragement, whatever it may be, for Robert and his his guitar that's sitting a bit lonely in the corner of his room.
Well, it's interesting because he mentions a couple of words of like application, how do I apply myself, and the discipline. And through the eyes of an observer, it looks like that's what's required. And many coaches try to teach that. And many books try to teach that. And there's not enough application or discipline in the world to give you what you think you want.
Boom.
It's just never going to happen.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And we get really caught up in that of, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough consistent time. And it doesn't work that way. Like music from an instrument is pure physics. It's pretty much every single instrument has some form of pressure, movement, speed, and you can attach a machine to it and it will do it. And we think that there's something about us that we have to do as a person with emotion in order to do it. And we're physically capable of it. Anyone's physically capable of it. Like I've seen videos of, there's a woman that I saw, she doesn't even have a right arm. So she's holding the violin with her left arm, and there's some contraption. I think it's just literally some connection to a bow, and she's literally just moving her shoulder and able to play beautifully. And it's amazing. And the music that we're playing is the same music that we're hearing. And when we listen to music that we're resonating with, and it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter whether it's classical or alternative or traditional or anything from any culture, and that connection, we're just lost in it. And there is no me or you. And it's fascinating listening to music in a group. And after I played, I sat and listened to the rest of the concert because everyone was playing different pieces. And just that power, it was almost as if the music wasn't coming from the instrument. It was coming from the whole connection of the people in the audience and the musicians and music in itself, that there was this essence of being. And that's what comes out when we play. And when we look at that, rather than trying to create that, like that's innate, that's natural. That happens without forcing it. And the more we try to force it, the more it sounds like cat scratching. And when we just play with it, then beauty emerges, the beauty that's always there. And that's when, it's really interesting just letting someone just play with it. You can learn instruments on your own just by playing around with it. Like that's how people first created it. That's how all these instruments were invented, by people playing around and realizing, oh, you can make music. And then you notice patterns. The Pythagorean theorem comes from music, just having everything. And that's the understanding, and how notes come. And when people say the space between the notes, it's not the rest stops. It's the space between do and re, the space between A and B. And that distinction, that's the understanding. That's when you're playing and you just get it. You get music, you become music, you let music become you. So just play with it. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how much dust it has, just play around and get lost in it. As just the same way as you get lost in a daydream. And see what happens.
Yeah, I love that. There's so much in what you said. And I was watching the Journey tribute acts. Don't ask. I was on YouTube. You know how one thing leads to another. So I was watching some Journey tribute acts, and And there's some good ones out there. And Neil Sean is a guy who plays the lead guitar in the Real Journey group, and he's great. And I was watching some of the tributes, and they're good guitarists, but they seem to play by numbers. I'm trying to think what's the difference. The tribute artists will do it, note by note and so on, or more or less. But you watch the original guy do it, and there's just so much more to it. And I guess he's getting himself out of the way, and just it's almost like an extension of who he is, the instrument. It's just so much more organic than, as you were saying, forced.
Yeah, I think when people compose music or play music in the group that they're in, that one of them composed it, there's this essence of and feeling of being with it, that we're a conduit for music. And it seems that if it's a tribute to someone, that, and this may not be with all tribute bands, and this may not be with all musicians, but if we're trying to copy or trying to emulate or trying to perfect and be precise, that little hesitation of, am I doing it right? Is this how Jimi Hendrix would have done it? Is this how Mozart would have liked it to be? Then we're like holding it back. We're getting in our way. We're chasing ourselves and chasing something that we think is there. But when we just play it as a tribute to them, then something else emerges. Or something else that when we see it, we see that it's not something else. It looks like something else, but it's the same essence as us. We're all the same. It's all spiritual. We are like music. We are like art. It's all love in the end.
Yeah, that's true. I have a question for you. This is just something that's put into my mind. Do you meditate? I know there's like the state of meditation versus the practice of meditation, but is that a practice that you have? Meditation.
I find conversations around this amusing and interesting and fun sometimes, and sometimes people get worked up about it and defensive about it. How I see it is we're always meditating. For me to sit and say, okay, peace, now come to me. Maybe I'll say that if I'm really upset and say, I'm really annoyed, can this just get away? And then I remember, what get away? Like there's nothing there. I don't sit and say things. I don't sit and try to breathe in something or visualize something. I just go on with my life, and I find myself at peace. Doesn't matter if I'm cooking or reading or sleeping or running or speaking to you. Yes. When we see life for what it is, that it's just an experience, then nothing gets in the way. We're always meditating, and when we think that we're not, it's when we think something's in the way. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to get. It's always here. It's always now. And that's it.
Yeah, because once you realize a dream or a goal, it gives rise to something else, to something else, to something else ad infinitum. So it's like an exercise in chasing rainbows. It can be if you're always chasing the next thing, the next shiny object, I'll be happy when, and so on.
Yeah, because it's like, well, what do you think it's going to get you?
Yeah.
Like I went running because I wanted to know if I could. I went up in the mountains to see what it's like. And it was wonderful. And, I thought that I had a really noisy head, and I realized I didn't. I realized how much peace I was in when I was doing a marathon on Beachy Head, my first marathon. I don't advise this. I do a lot of things where I just go for it. But if anyone who's listening to this wants to do a marathon and they've never trained, I don't recommend going to the extreme.
But you're a beast.
No. Or you can do it and see what happens, because you can always, give up at the next checkpoint. But I went through it, and there was a point when I was just walking past a group of people up in the mountains, hundreds of miles from the nearest city. And I could have been in a pub. The intensity of what they were speaking about, and just the feeling as if something is so important, so critical right now, even though the people that they're talking about, the things that they're talking about, are nowhere near them. And I passed them by, and I thought, oh wow, I didn't realize how much peace I had in my life. I didn't realize how meditative, my life was. And it was just funny, because I thought that I was, a busy thinker, always like, and actually I wasn't. It comes and goes. It's, the ebb and flow of life. But that was fascinating, how quiet my mind was. I hadn't realized that until I noticed how noisy everyone else was. And it was fascinating. It's really fascinating that you can be in this place where there's nothing, and beauty, and animals, and trees, and mountains, and endless space. And they brought that in. And it was just another reminder of peace isn't something to get. Peace is something that we have. Just look at what we already have.
Yeah, the quieter your mind goes, the more productive you can be. It's nuts how much I can do lately. To even go back a year, or even go back 3 months, 6 months, I would have just had a meltdown with all the stuff I've got going on at the moment. Yet I'm just doing one task at a time, and even when I do get overwhelmed, I just think, well, it's just a feeling. That's all it is. It's just a feeling. It's not letting me know anything about the tasks I've got at hand, etc. So that's powerful, and I hope people watching this get that message. It's so powerful. It's so important.
Yeah, and it sits on the foundation of, we start with peace. Like, that's the starting point, not the end point. And all the stuff that we put on top of it is what we think is what we get caught up on, what we think we need to do in order to achieve the peace that we already have. And that's where we trip over ourselves and say, oh, I've got this problem, and then I have to get rid of this problem so then I can get peace, because peace is the goal. It's actually, no, it starts with peace. You're fabulously creating this imaginary land, creating villains in it, creating dragons, creating potential solutions and journeys and treasure maps. And actually, it's none of that. You don't have to slay the dragon. You don't have to go through trials and tribulations. You don't have to force meditation. You don't have to force yourself to learn an instrument, or force yourself to run through mountains. Just breathe. Just notice the peace that everything sits on. And magically, it just all goes away. You get the realizations of, oh, I thought I needed that. And I thought that I'm not going to be.
This has been a fascinating and deeply connected conversation. And I hope those watching at home have been enjoying it as I have. Hopefully, Sophia will jump back on in a moment. I know she's got a webinar, a live webinar at 7:00. So we'll be wrapping this up soon. But I want to just finish off with Sophia and talk a little bit about her work and how anybody can connect with her if they would like to reach out. As I say, hopefully she'll come back on in a moment. I'm just going to go to the comments section. I know Sue Ratley made a comment recently about, I feel that way about dancing. She was obviously responding to something that Sophia had been saying earlier on in the conversation. So that was interesting. It's always a shame when these Facebook Lives drop out. here's Sophia coming back on. So let's have a look. Hopefully she'll be back on in a moment. And here we go. Thanks for dropping back in. I'm seeing, obviously, I know you've got to get going. It's +7 because you've got a live stream to attend to. But I just want to thank you for doing this. It's been amazing, and some of the things you've said have landed. I've known something intellectually before, but now it's kind of landed something. Wow, the power of having a connected chat. Speaking of which, you do client work, you do coaching sessions, you do brilliant work. You're a mentor to lots of people. You're really, really excellent, exceptional at what you do. I know you've helped me on different occasions, so I really, value your work and recommend you to others. If people want to reach out and connect with you, or enlist you as a coach, how would they best do that?
Well, since this is on Facebook and since I'm tagged on this video already, just click on my name and you'll get to my profile, add me as a friend, contact me, say hello, say I want to chat, and we'll schedule something in. And if you're watching this outside of Facebook, just go to sophiakaterinis.com, and that's with a PH, SOPHIAKATERINIS.com, and you'll find a button where it says book now, or you can just put on the end /schedule, and you'll go straight to my scheduling page. And I've got a free 45-minute booking that they can do. Now, a year from now might not be free. So if you're watching this anytime after this, it might, just because in the times when I get really booked, I have to change that and either shorten it or get people on a waiting list. So while it's available, yeah, contact me. There's no crazy question. There's no embarrassing question. You don't really need to tell me details because it has nothing to do with the content of it. It's all about the feeling. So yeah, contact me, and yeah, let's see what can happen. Let's see what your life can be. You can experience wonder.
Just to add on to that, when Sophie worked with me, helping me get a tough emotional issue that was really giving me some sleepless nights. And we jumped on a Zoom call, and I started sharing the pain, the emotional pain, and then we had a very connected chat. And then Sophia began talking to me, and I thought, you've been checking out my profile. How do you know all this stuff? And then it dawned on me I hadn't shared this stuff publicly. So even if you had been, which I doubt that you had, but even if you had been trolling through my profile, she wouldn't have found this information. And but you described it as a soul-to-soul connection. And you were just seeing things that were coming through you that made sense due to the connection, and it was all really useful, and it's helped. I got insights and I got new awareness. The emotional pain left, and all that was left was inner peace. And within an hour or two, the dispute I had with somebody else was resolved. And
you've disappeared again. But yeah, it was a magical session. And the way this works is all of this is universal. We've all experienced all these feelings. We've all experienced torment and happiness and everything in between. And it looks different for everybody, but in essence it feels the same. And that's how I'm able to connect, but even that's like a crude description. The connection that's between us all is always there. Like, we're not really separate. We're not separate at all. And when we see that, then everything that we think is getting in the way just disappears, because it's
agreeing to do this. And I'm just going to wrap things up and say much love to you all. Bye for now.